Hey, everybody. I'm here late tonight. And I really said to myself, I'm probably going to be up here solo by myself, but I see some of y'all are coming through and y'all hanging out with me, and I really appreciate it. So I got a few emails about Charlie Kirk before I get into tonight's topic. And over here, I don't really like to do politics because it's just a whole polarizing conversation when you talk politics, because everybody has their views, everybody has their beliefs, and everybody is strong for whatever side of the political realm they stand on. And so many people are saying about this Charlie Kirk, that his past comments about certain topics, subjects, and people, where everything from races and everything in between. And I say this, I believe in freedom of speech, and everybody has the right to speak what they want, say what they want. And yeah, it hurts other people a lot of times, right? But I still don't feel that gives anybody the right to take another person's life. So the most I want to say is, on that note, may he rest in peace. I think it's a very sad situation. I feel for his children. I feel for the wife. It's a sad day in the world where you go to do a speech and someone takes your life. So it reminds me of, and it brings me to this poem I love. They said, I can't remember if Mother Teresa wrote it or if it was inspired by her, but I want to share with y'all for one moment. So hold on, let me share screen. It is titled, Do It Anyway. And this is my best response to what happened to Charlie. May he rest in peace. May his wife find some peace. And unfortunately, we got two young children that are going to grow up without their father. So this Do It Anyway poem, it says, people are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. It says, forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. They said, be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. When you spend years building someone could destroy overnight, build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the world the best you got anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it's between you and your God. It was never between you and them anyway. I happen to love that poem. An inspirational speaker who is no longer alive that I followed a lot is Wayne Dyer. And Wayne Dyer used to recite that poem often. And so with this Kirk Charlie situation, again, the best I got for y'all is may he rest in peace. He may have said some polarizing things, but what we all got to remember is that none of us are perfect, and we all may have hurt somebody, said some crazy things, and we want forgiveness. So we got to give people forgiveness. And no matter what happened to him, awful, despicable, disgusting, and just very sad. Again, hopefully his wife and children, can find some peace in this horrific moment. So let me go on into tonight's topic. We got 2 stories. I'm coming on late, so I'm going to keep it brief. And it's called Scammed. Scammed is the title. So we got this Baltimore mom that was scammed out of $900. In some states where you live, they have those the people, when you stopped on the road, they want to clean your car, your windshield off with them little squeegee things. And, maybe if you got $2, $3 free or open in your car, you give it to them. This mother felt bad because she didn't have any physical cash on her. So the guy suggested she use her Cash App. Not thinking, she handed him the phone. He Cash Apped himself $900 and ran off. So she was out $900. She called the cops. She tried to fight to get it back. But, she got scammed. She got. Trying to be nice, and she got. So we're going to talk about that and how you really got to be careful in these streets. And then we got David Taylor. That is the evangelist. He called himself God's best friend and whatever other nonsense he wanted to put out there in the streets about who he was and was trafficking and just treating people extremely badly. Well, gospel singer, his ex-girlfriend Vicki, speaks out. And she said when she initially spoke out about him, she got called all kinds of lies and everything else. So she says she saw the red flag. She left him. She's not surprised at what happened. It's just heart-wrenching and heartbreaking. And she said eventually she may even testify in his upcoming trial. But along with Vicki, another member who actually worked for the church for free, she spoke out. Just said how eventually she ended up leaving the church, when she figured out that he was a scam artist. And, it's just sad. So tonight's title is called Scam. We're going to get into these stories. I only did 2 because the Vicki interview is kind of long. We're going to listen to most of it. We're going to get into these stories. So hold on one second, guys, because y'all know what I need in the chat, because I want to bring the people on in the building. So what do I need? I need a choo-choo. All aboard, everybody. It is Thursday night trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about. The title is called Scam. We got the Baltimore mom scammed out of $900. And we got Vicki Yohe. She is one of the ex-girlfriends to David Taylor. That was from that JMM Ministries, who was trafficking the people and all kinds of other stuff, but has since been arrested. She's speaking out. Let me bring the people on in. Hey, Katrina.
Hey, Diva. Hey, Chat.
Hey, Wayne.
Bonjour, Mademoiselle Diva.
Hey. Listen, let's go ahead and do this first story where the Baltimore mom, she got scammed. She got. Hold on, let me share a screen. And she's just hoping it doesn't happen to anybody else. That's why she's speaking out.
Squeegees have returned to a busy Baltimore intersection, and one driver says they've brought back a popular scam. In social media posts that has now gone viral, Shanae Platter explains how she lost $900 in just seconds. Fox 25's Rebecca Pryor joins us live to share her story tonight. Rebecca.
And Mary, we're here at that intersection now where a police officer was stationed for the better half of the afternoon, but now he's gone. And take a look, there are 2 groups of squeegee kids back weaving in and out of cars, trying to, wash windshields for cash. Not only is it illegal for them to be here at all, we know that panhandling in the street, it is illegal. But this Baltimore mother, she says that she tried to help them, and instead her act of kindness cost her $900. Posted at the corner of MLK and Washington Boulevard, a police officer watching closely as a group of young men armed with squeegees crossed the street. A once common sight, now mostly faded from the city's major intersections. This time, they keep walking. But last week,
I had to come on here and share this story. It has been troubling me since it happened on Sunday.
Shanae Plater's taking to TikTok in a post that's now received over 10,000 likes, saying she learned the hard way why the city cleared them from the streets.
And I thought that, okay, well, maybe they're back, but I haven't heard the stories about the scam. I haven't. If I did, I wouldn't have done it.
After allowing one of them to clean her windshield, she wanted to thank him, but didn't have cash. That's when Plater says he suggested sending funds through the mobile payment service Cash App.
And he was like, I can put my number in. And unfortunately, I gave him my phone. When I put my PIN in, it said, you have sent $900. And I said, you sent $900? Why did you do that? And he said, you did that.
Fearing for the safety of her young children in the back seat, she didn't chase after him. Instead, she called 911. But by the time officers arrived,
And it was like he literally disappeared into thin air.
Along with her money.
Yesterday, I got a message from Cash App. They can't prove it was a scam. I have 4 children. I work every day. I'm in college. I'm in grad school. I have to pay out of pocket to go to school. I can recover. I will, but it hurts.
BPD confirming they're investigating the incident, but so far, no arrests have been made. In the meantime, Plater says she doesn't want sympathy, just for others to avoid making the same mistake.
I don't want this to happen to anyone else. If I can prevent this from happening, I don't mind sharing my story.
Will you stop again for squeegee workers in the future?
Not anytime soon. I can't. I just can't. I can't risk my life. I can't risk my family's life. It's just not worth it.
Now, you can see we're back out at that intersection. There is a police officer who has pulled up. He pulled up on the other side of the street, and he appeared to say something to one of the squeegee kids. That group of kids on the other side of the intersection, they have walked off, although they are still lingering around here. Now, again, this cop is sitting at this stoplight. I'm sure he sees the other group of squeegee kids. We're not sure if he is planning on saying anything to them or not, but it appears that they are still in traffic doing what they were doing before he arrived. This certainly was a crime that we have reported on in the past when squeegee kids were more prevalent in this city. But so far this year, BPD says that they have only recorded one other money transfer scam involving squeegee kids. We will keep an eye on this intersection and have an update for you at 5 on whether or not they stay here or not. Reporting live in Pigtown, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
Super sad. Why she handed them her phone, I don't know. Katrina, your thoughts?
Me either, because when I do Cash App, when I put the amount in, it asks me for my PIN number. And then before I even send it, it'll say, what are you sending this for? And then it'll ask me for my PIN number. So she had to put her PIN number in.
She said she did. She said she did.
And she didn't realize she had $900 on there?
Guess not.
Because you got to put your PIN in there in order for the money to go through. I learned my lesson helping people. This one guy told me they was broke down on the interstate and he needed gas and whatsoever, so he's asking me for money. I said, I don't have no money on me, which I did. And I said, well, if you got a gas thing, I can take you to the gas station and put gas in your car. In your little jug. I took this man to the gas station. This man went around and hopped the fence and ran back up the hill. And I told my son, I said, see, he didn't want no gas money. He wanted something else. I've learned my lesson because I always try to help people. You know what I'm saying? I always try to help people and stuff like that. My son said I'm too nice. But as in giving them my phone for my Cash App, no ma'am. If you don't give me your number, then it won't be going through because I'm not finna give you my phone. Because they could have even ran with the phone. So she was taking a chance all the way around. You try to help people and then you end up getting smacked in the face. But I'm still concerned about how she put her PIN in and didn't realize that she was sending $900. But and she ain't finna get it back because she put her PIN number in there. So Cash App gonna look at it as it wasn't a fraud. So the guy that got the money or the child that got the money ain't no good luck gonna come to you because you swindle somebody. But that's all I got, Diva.
Yeah, it's sad. Wayne, your thoughts?
You know, them kids are probably, I mean, it's honest, you know, what they're doing is honest. You know, as long as they, you know, they clean the windows. If they get something, they do. If they don't, they don't. They ain't all upset, you know. And so it just takes one to mess it up for the rest of them. Okay. And I understand being nice, but that's just foolishness.
Yeah.
You know, you give your phone. I mean, even if somebody wanted to use my, like, you know, oh, can I use your phone? No, I'm sorry. Because you're going to put your number in there and whoever you go, and then you get my number. It's all kind of stuff. When people get your phone number, they can put your number online, reverse look up, get all kind of information on you. So I don't even do that. I really have to be led by the spirit or something to let you use my phone. So, I mean, she's owning up to it, but as much as sometimes you want to help people, you just can't.
You ain't lying. You can't.
You can't. I seen people out there. This lady, a friend was going to eat, and she was out there with her kids, begging for money. And my buddy gave her $6. I said, "Are you crazy?" He said, "Well, she got the kids." I said, "Man, when we was coming back, she was getting in an Audi. She was getting picked up in an Audi. I saw them a week or so later, whatever. They must have moved them. They was down at the other end, all the way about a couple of miles away, doing the same thing. And come to find out, I heard on the news, one of them was an accountant, and the woman, they had good jobs. And they was out there with their kids begging for money. I wouldn't give them pot to piss in, no window to throw it out of.
It's a shame they were scamming the people like that, and then you got your kids with you, so they're learning this scamming behavior, which is very sad and disappointing. I'm going to go ahead and roll into the next story, and the next story is that David Taylor. We did this on Trending Topics. I want to say last week or the week before that, where he had the ministry, and he's is accused of scamming people in general out of $50 million. He had people working for him and then going down to the social services saying that, you know, they was homeless. He was making them get EBT cards, and then he was using those cards to buy all this food and wasn't even feeding the people. Hey, Juice. Hey, Special K. Hey, everybody. It's just sad. And so now his ex-girlfriend, a gospel singer, spoke out. And then one of the former church workers has spoke out also about him and his scamming ways. First, I'll show everybody the church worker.
Accounts of alleged abuse caused by the two church leaders who saw their properties raided late last month. One of those properties was in Tampa's Avila community. David E. Taylor and Michelle Brannon remain in jail tonight facing federal charges. A woman who says she worked at one of Taylor's ministries spoke with Fox 13's Aaron Mesmer about her experience and her hopes for the victims she met.
God happened not only in my life, but in your life.
David E. Taylor was a self-proclaimed apostle.
Look at this!
Faith healer.
This is the church's greatest hour.
And regular host on worship shows. Leslie Portillo says her friend, Danielle Hendrick, called into the show in 2015.
She called in for prayer because at that time she was going through a medical condition.
Leslie says it wasn't long before they were recruited to do marketing for Taylor's company, Joshua Media Ministries International, which became the Kingdom of God Global Church. She even lived at Taylor's ministry in Michigan for several months, but she started noticing red flags.
I actually saw him get very verbally abusive towards one of the staff members to the point where he basically humiliated her.
Leslie, who now lives in Orlando, left the church after 3.5 years, but not before she got to know the 30 or so workers at the ministry. She says most were young, influential, and well-connected to potentially bring in more recruits and more money. And she says, like her, they often held strong religious beliefs that Taylor was able to exploit.
He conditioned them to think a certain way. They all fell for it. We all did. We wanted to believe that it was a good place, a good person, but unfortunately, it's not.
Leslie says she didn't realize what was truly going on until the FBI raided Taylor's properties. Authorities accuse him and the church's executive director, Michelle Brandon, of running call centers across the country, including one in Tampa's Avila neighborhood. Investigators say workers were often cut off from their families and forced to raise money for the church or face punishment.
He's literally destroyed marriages, affected people's lives, took people's time that you can't get back.
That includes Leslie, whose friend Danielle stayed with the church. Months later, Danielle passed away from cancer.
I can't get back that time with my best friend. Our friend was separated because I decided to disconnect and she decided to stay. So for the last few months of our friendship, we did not talk.
Taylor and Brandon, meanwhile, face human trafficking and money laundering charges. They're accused of using the $50 million raised for the church to fund their own lavish lifestyles while their employees worked for free. We still don't know exactly how many victims were rescued. Leslie hopes they, too, can fully break free.
I am praying for them, and my hope is that they know the truth and they get connected back to their families.
Aaron Mesmer, Fox 13 News.
So sad. And now I want to play for you his ex-girlfriend speaks and talks about how she spoke out first and how she got death threats and all of that because she was telling the truth about him. And at that time, no one believed her.
It's already making you emotional.
It is.
Why?
Because when I spoke out against this monster, I had so many people saying, you're just a woman scorned. He cheated on you. You got names of a couple women. But I knew it was more than that. And I got criticized. Just people just thought I was crazy. But I knew this man was a wicked man. And I spoke out. And when I went on social media, I never got caught because as a Christian recording artist, you shouldn't be doing what I did with this man.
Yeah.
I didn't get caught in anything. God spoke to me and says, Vicki, you need to confess to the world. You're a gospel recording artist. You're with this man. He has convinced you that you are in a okay relationship because he's best friends with Jesus and he's immune from all of that and you're going to be okay. He said, God just really kept, and I would say stuff to David, this ain't right. He said, oh, it's okay. I'm best friends with Jesus. But being a preacher's kid, I knew it was wrong. And so I spoke out and it's actually still on the internet. It's about 20 minutes. And I just told everybody what was going on. Within 3 weeks, I stopped counting at 100 women that told me that they were in a relationship with David. Many of them said they were his wife. They said that he said to keep it just between them because church people are messy. That's what he told me. Church people are messy, Vicki, and I'm gonna marry you one of these days, but just don't tell anybody. And so all these women are out there thinking that this man is going to be the one that they're going to marry.
Loves them.
There was times he would text me and he would just say, hey, what's going on, baby, or whatever. And I would respond, but he wouldn't say nothing back. And then the next day he'd get, And so one time I remember saying, David, we're supposed to get married at some point. We haven't talked in 3 weeks. He said, he finally would call me. He said, I don't know about us. He said, you just seem very unstable. And I said, well, maybe you're right. You're so busy doing the things of God and you're traveling and I'm sorry that I guess I was asking too much, so that I'm back out again, And so, but I had a lady even today he moved her from Maryland and moved her a few blocks from his home in St. Louis. And she said, when I saw you come out and say what you said, the first 3 words, I knew you were speaking the truth, because everything you said about him, he did it with me. And so that's why the women believed me.
Yeah.
The women believed me.
The Department of Justice says David Taylor and Michelle Brandon are facing charges of human exploitation, financial crimes, including forced labor and money laundering, and that they did not permit people who were working for their call center victims to leave the house without permission, demanded that his armor bearers transport women from ministry houses, airports, and other locations to Taylor's location, and ensured the women transported to Taylor took Plan B emergency contraceptives. Does any of this surprise you?
Oh, no, not at all. But for me, I was a little bit different. I'm not, because I was the gospel singer that he had me come and sing. I was never around all the stuff you're talking about, working 50 hours and not feeding them. He kept me from all of that. Okay. I flew in, sang in his events. He would come to Louisiana, New Orleans. We'd meet up in New Orleans. But when I came out with my story, then everybody else said, well, listen, I'm the one that got the EBT cards when everybody got them the first of the month, and they all had to give them to me, and I would go to the grocery store and that food would be gone and we'd have to wait till, he said, and so other stories started coming out.
After you spoke out. So these allegations don't surprise you because you've heard of these from other members.
Because I've heard, because way back when I had so many people call me and say, we've been praying for you. But see, people reached out to me, even my family and people that they said, Vicki, there's something not right with him.
With it.
And I would say, David, everybody says there's something not right. And he says, Vicki, he said, but when you're at my level, you're going to get persecution. And he said, you got to stand with me. And there's different things that he would say. He sent me a YouTube video. Yeah. And he said, I want you to check this out. And he said, and it was a video of him at an apartment that he had in Detroit. Just not fancy at all. Yeah. And he's standing there and he's showing people his apartment. And he said, I only make $49,000 a year. He said, and he said, this is where I stay. And so I called him, or he called me. He said, what'd you think? I said, David, that's deceptive. I said, you have 2 Bentleys, a Rolls Royce. You have those big house in St. Louis. He said, then he said, after that, he goes, well, you just need to go with my flow. Your mind is not right. And he just totally discredited why did you even ask me my opinion? So a lot of things like that was a red flag. And I had many red flags during this 16-month relationship, many. But I ignored a lot of them.
One of the red flags, according to what I saw in your book, I guess, was when you first were involved with the church, that first time you came to guest sing, when the worship went till, I think you said 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And is that where the first time maybe you look to see at the cult likeness of this church, because they have these super long worship?
At that time, I just thought, wow, they really love God. That early on, I didn't really even think it was a cult. But that night at 3:30 in the morning, we took a picture together. And he sent me, so about midnight, no, not midnight, because that was 3:30, about 5 in the morning, he messaged me. He said, send me that picture. And I said, okay, and I sent him, and he came back and he said, OMG, you're beautiful. Now, I was divorced. Yeah. And my ex-husband, he would say I was pretty, cute, but every woman wants to hear that word, beautiful. And so I said, Lord, the next time you send somebody into my life, please let them use the word beautiful. When I got that text, I said, here he is. And so that was the beginning of my really downfall with that, because I just thought that God, he said, OMG, you're beautiful.
And that did it. He, like you said, he knew what to say. Yeah. And how.
I wasn't even attracted to him. I mean, you've seen him. Yeah. Okay, I'm just saying, it's the craziest thing, because the longer I was there, I would come to his meetings and I would say, David, these women here are so beautiful women.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, they are. They got a lot of nice looking women here. But come to found out that he slept with all of his spiritual daughters. I wasn't the only one.
And it sounds like too in the documents that he's charged with, that's mentioned that he made them take a lot of the women transported to him take Plan B contraceptives. He ever make you?
No.
No.
We didn't. We weren't together because I didn't live there, so
You weren't there.
I wasn't there. He had a house there in Detroit of about maybe 18 women, and I'm sure 99% of them was with him.
How would you describe your relationship with Mr. Taylor?
I thought I was in love with him, but when I look back at it, he really just used me because I have like 1.2 million on my Facebook page, my platform. He would have me promote his book. If I didn't promote his book every day, it was like the end of the world. He wanted me to interview people that saw Jesus. So when I look back on it, he used me for my platform. He did not love me. He did not, because it was all about what I can do for him. Yeah. He kept me busy just, promoting his book, and as far as, I look back at it, I just cannot believe that I got caught up in it. I just can't believe I'm smarter than that. Yeah. I feel like I'm smarter than that. And the guy is nothing to look. I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm just saying, I like good looking, men. That's one thing. That's the first thing you see. But that's not what attracted to me at first. It was what he said to me. He's got a way. I know it's demonic. I know it's manipulative. Some of these women. His main thing, and it's in the book. Yeah. Getting the women is Facebook. He would message them and say they have a Catherine Kuhlman anointing. If you know who that was, she was a powerful woman of God that would pray for people, they'd be healed. People say, oh, wow, you got a powerful, you remind me of Catherine Kuhlman. And then he would say, I was going through Facebook and God told me you're to be my wife. So he has a team of Michelle, Daniel, man, his name just came. Daniel's the one that set up all these things. They would go on Facebook and they would find affluent women with money, women that, not married too, because he's broke up many, many marriages.
I saw that.
Oh, you won't even believe the stories.
There was one video that Michelle posted that said if you have a nickel and you're going to be homeless, if you give up that nickel, to still give that nickel up to the church.
It's anything that if you have a savings account, I gave a lot of money.
Yeah.
I regret it, but I gave a lot of money. He said when I exposed him that they asked him why. Well, he said he kicked me out, which that wasn't true. He said, well, she's on drugs. She could be a part of it. If I'd been on drugs, everybody would have known it. Why did, I'm in the public
So you
eye.
just walked away.
I just got on social media and I told my story. He got on social media the next night and then he said, they said, well, you bought her a Jaguar. He paid $20,000 for that Jaguar, paid down, and he paid the notes for it. Mm-hmm. But he didn't pay it out full. And what he said, he told everybody, he said, well, she came to our ministry, she was broke. Not true. And she didn't have a car. My car was paid off. But he knew I had a Jaguar in the past that I had wrecked, and he knew I love a Jaguar. So one day he just said, if you can get to Atlanta, I got to go get you a Jaguar, And so then he started making up all these stories. And then Michelle says, one time I picked Vicki up from the airport and she wanted barbecue chicken. And so I went and got a barbecue chicken. Instead of using a napkin, she put the barbecue on top of the roof of my car. And everybody was laughing in the comments because if you know me, that's one thing when I go to churches, don't give me barbecue. I hate barbecue. And so everybody was laughing because they're like, she's lying because we know about you, So what they're trying to do is discredit me. They couldn't come, they were just saying stuff. I didn't watch it, but other people told me about it, because once I did the video and I broke down and shared my story, I didn't want to hear his voice anymore. I was done. Daystar Television, Joni Lamb, her and her husband, deceased husband Marcus Lamb, flew me to a counseling place for 1 week. And when I drove there, and when I pulled in, the lady was on the porch. And I couldn't see my tomorrow. I could not see tomorrow. I could not see tomorrow. Because my whole world was what me and him would do together. And it was crazy. Even though I was relieved that I was able to share this with the world, but she had her dog there. She'd hug me. She said, it's gonna be okay. And so every day for 7 days, she made me breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And in between, we'd go by the fireplace and we would just share. We went back to my childhood when I was young. I had some things happen to me when I was 5 years old. And she told me, she says, you were told to keep that a secret at 5. So it was never dealt with. These things were never dealt with. So now, you're 50 and someone's telling you to keep a secret. You've done that before.
Is that why you spoke out?
Yeah.
After that, all you have is your voice.
And you know what? You read the story about how that came out, how I came up with that title.
Yeah.
Michelle was a wicked woman. She put me in that room in Israel. And she told me, sit down, her and Marcia, another lady, Marcia. And they started, this is in Israel. We were there for some meeting. He always acted like you see his advertisements, like he's gonna have 20, 30, 50,000 in his stadiums. And you see, he's got the best graphics person, but you show up at his meetings and there's 50, 60. He wanted to be famous so bad. I mean, he just wanted, So we're in this ballroom. First off, Michelle texts me and she says, Apostle wants me and Marcia to meet with you. Now, Marcia knew I was with David and she did. Only a few people knew.
Apostle is David.
Apostle, yeah, I'm sorry. Apostle is David, sorry, David. And so she said, Apostle wants me to meet with you. And I said, he's my boyfriend. He can text me and call me. What's going on? He said, if you don't meet with us, if you don't accept us, you don't accept him. And that was another red flag. I was in Israel. I was like, okay, what? This is getting crazy. So I said, no, I'm not meeting with y'all. He blasted me. He told me how rebellious I was, full of pride. He just on the phone, he said, you better meet with him. So I'm over in Israel. I don't want to get stuck. He paid my way there.
Yeah.
And so I said, I'll meet with him. So I go into this big ballroom. It was like I was on one side of the table, they were on the other side. And they just started, I was crying. I couldn't stop crying. They were saying stuff I never heard of, just making up stuff. You're full of pride, and when you come to the church and you're so demanding, you can ask anybody when I go to their churches. I am not a diva. Give me some room temperature water and let's go.
Yeah.
I don't have to have certain color of M&Ms or nothing like that. I'm not that way. They were saying, and I was like, no, shut up. I was like, shut up, you're full of pride. And they were just screaming at me. And I just sat there and cried. And I kept thinking, if I'm David's queen, how would a king allow his queen to be treated this way? Yeah. And so they said, we're done. You can go. So I said, okay. And I'm walking to the door. And Marcia and Michelle were standing there. Marcia goes, all you have is a voice, Vicki. I said, I know. See, they just, there's nothing else to me. Then when I decided to write the book, I was praying about a title. And God brought me back to that moment. And he said, yes, I've anointed your voice to sing. But now I've anointed your voice to expose this cult. And so that's the title. All you have is a voice, free from a hidden cult. And so it's so interesting that this is happening now and me sharing all this. I on the way over here, I was thinking, Lord, let me say the right things, because so much happened in those 16 months. because I haven't thought about it in about 5 years. I'm not. I wrote the book, left it alone, said, God, whatever, if he ever gets caught, okay. If he don't, you know what? I feel like I
Told
did
your
what I
story.
was supposed to. I told my story, and I'm done with it. I'm done with it. People would message me. I said, first off, don't send me any clips of him. Don't send me anything about him. I'm over. I'm done. I'm done with him. And then when I got that mugshot a couple days ago, all I could do was just cry because I had messaged the FBI several times and I said, what's going on? And sometimes they wouldn't answer, sometimes they'd say, it takes time. It takes time. I remember when I had the interview with them, I said, how long is it going to take? And they said, just, Vicki, let me tell you this. When we go in, it's over. We have everything, so it may take years. So I feel like I've been vindicated. I feel like you won't believe the people that has messaged me saying, Vicki, I'm sorry. We didn't believe you. We thought you were just a woman scorned. But I'm so thankful for this opportunity to share my story with you.
Because more people are speaking out now too.
Yes.
You're one of the very few over the years that spoke out publicly.
Yeah, they won't do it because of what would happen. You know, what they would happen. You know, one thing I wanted to say, when David was pastor in church in St. Louis, his armor bearer, that's somebody that goes around and helps him, you know. There's really true ones that are compensated, and they're, you know, he's got a whole other situation going on. But when he messaged me, he told me he had 60 names of 60 women in St. Louis that David slept with. He said, let me tell you something. He said, one time I got a call from one of the deacons. He said, get David, come out to the house. He said, why? He said, well, you'll find out. He told David got his wife, they went out the house. On the way to the house, David told his wife, said, act like you knew about this when we got here and that you forgive me. And she said, what? Well, he said, you'll see. When he got out there, all the 8 deacons were out there and they were confronting him. He slept with every one of their wives.
Was this Tabitha the wife? Tabitha was the wife. Growing up in the church and being involved in so many churches across the country, do you worry there may be other situations out there like what was alleged to happen at the Kingdom of God Global Church?
Yes, because when I first wrote the book and I was sharing a little bit about it, I had women reach out to me. One lady said, I had our bishop's baby and we sit in the balcony every Sunday. And the child is 5 years old now. He's on the platform with the first lady. And
so other cults.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're going to say it's a church. Yeah. There are legitimate churches. My dad was a pastor. He was
100%.
But you know what? There's some of these, they're cults, you know. And but my whole message was no more secrets.
Yeah.
See, I kept a secret. People keep a secret. If you can't go, this is a side note. If you can't go down the street with the guy you're dating, and you can't go to a restaurant or go meet his family, you can only meet him in the hotel, there's something wrong.
Red flag.
Red flag. No more secrets.
What would you say to those who are still members and backing Taylor and Brandon? I called this morning the church and people are still answering. They say that there's still business as usual and they're still accepting donations. So there are still people that are believing in the message that he was spreading and what they are doing. What do you say to those members?
I would say it's over. The red flags that you guys have seen, you know, it's true. Yeah. The thing about it is any cult leader that's out there, cult leader, you think about Jim Jones, some of them, you're always going to have 200, 300 people that's going to keep believing. You know, David prayed on a lot of people that mental illness, people that maybe, I'm not trying to be mean, but just that had weak people. I remember one time I went to his house with my 2 boys. We spent a couple of days there in St. Louis. And I looked in the bathroom and some of his books, he had some of Jim Jones books. I didn't think nothing of it at the time, but now I look back on it, you know, and I thank God that he didn't offer Kool-Aid, because at that time I probably would have drank the Kool-Aid. I'm just saying, your mind gets so, this guy was just trying to convince you, and he did convince so many people that he is best friends with Jesus. It's not even biblical. How can, how you know, and
He healed a whole church or a whole hospital. Was that in your book about how he drove by a hospital and prayed, and then all of a sudden maybe it was healed?
So this is what this guy does. He thinks anything he says, everybody's gonna believe it. Like he can just say whatever he wants, you know? So he had all these crutches and wheelchairs on the platform. And so I'm surprised I stayed around 16 months, because I was questioning things like that. Because I would be at his meeting. I said, you have all these wheelchairs and up on the platform. I've not seen anybody walk out of them. He goes, Vicki, it builds faith. We just do it because it builds faith. Only miracle I saw was, and I don't know if it was set up, was he had this guy come up there and he got his taste buds back or something. It's just something just so like, try this mint, try that. I was like, okay. And I'm on the front row trying to be, I was like, this is corny. But, I don't know. I just, at the point that I decided it's over was when a lady, I'm not gonna mention her name, she reached out to me and she says, Vicki, this is what she's a big part of it. And if you're watching, you know who you are. She says, Vicki, I know you're part of this ministry, because I know I see you come and sing, but I need you to help me. I'm in a relationship with David Taylor. And I played dumb, like, oh, really? She says, yeah, she sent me a picture of her and him. Of course, I call his phone, he don't answer. I call Michelle, they don't answer. I send them the picture. They say she photoshopped it. She's lying. Well, you gotta watch when David's in this level of, with Jesus, people's gonna, wanna make up stuff about him and relationship and things. And then somebody else, he sent me a text, David did, and he had another lady's name that works there it's a part of the ministry, and it had her name on there. I confirmed, so then I knew. So the day I exposed him, the day he started telling everybody that, I lied, I got in the mail, it was for Christmas, he mailed me $900 Louis Vuitton shoes. And it said, love you, everything. And he's telling, I couldn't help but post on social media, because this guy is telling everybody we were never in a relationship. And then when I posted the pictures of him and I together, you see him, he said, she photoshopped him. I got more people saying, Vicki, you can go into business, because honey, those were really, really, really good,
How does it feel to see these charges and to share your voice?
I'm so overwhelmed. I told myself, don't cry, talk slow, don't cry. But I honestly kept believing. There's a song that says, keep believing in what you know is true. Keep believing, the Lord will see you through. When troubles rise in your life and you don't know what to do, keep believing. And that's all I've done. I kept believing, I kept them out of my mind. One thing I've learned through all of this is to keep my eyes on Jesus. And there's a song I wrote that says, I'm at peace, even though my heart is breaking. I'm at peace. And that's where I'm at. I'm at peace.
And Vicki does expect to testify at some point in this case, she says. If Taylor and Brandon are found guilty of the charges, they could face up to 60 years in prison. Now, we did reach out to the Kingdom of God Global Church's headquarters in Michigan. They told us they are still operating as usual and still taking donations. Jennifer Titus, 10 Investigates.
Her voice is beautiful. Vicki has two beautiful black handsome sons. Come on, Juice, with the information. I'm glad you're here. Katrina, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm glad Vicky got out of it. But Vicky was giving me that she wanted to be married to this man, and I'm thinking to myself, if he would have married her, would Vicky been out there telling this? Because Vicky said that I thought you was gonna marry me, and he saying that he have to do church and stuff like that. And then she said, "Oh, I knew he was for me when he said I was beautiful." She said she asked God to send her somebody to say he's beautiful. But the thing about it is, when you pray outside, when you pray by mouth and not in your head, which we call the closet, things can hear you. And it's ironically he sent her exactly what she wanted to hear, because he's a demon. I mean, he that man is a walking demon basically, and you using the God Bible for your advantage. And like I tell a lot of people, Lucifer was God's right hand man, so he knows the Bible just like Jesus do because he was there. But Vicky, I feel sorry for Vicky, but from the thing I'm getting from Vicky, if Vicky was the wife, I don't think Vicky would have came out and told nothing. Vicky feel like she got played, so that's why she went to the FBI. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I heard it wrong, but I'm just going by what she's saying. She's saying the other people he was sleeping with the other people and stuff like that. And like I said, I'm thinking that if Vicky would have got married to this man, if he would have married Vicky, I think Vicky would still be there and nobody would know what's going on. But since she got booted out, or she felt like he wasn't interested in her no more, and she came out and spilled the beans. She came out. She was upset. She was mad. She feel like she got played. He taking your money, and he still ain't marry you. I don't get it. I don't get why these women get these men their money and stuff. But you see, the only time you can see them at a hotel, child, please. And then she gonna say herself, you see how he looked like, saying the man is unattractive. So Vicky, you set your own self up for that situation. I'm sorry to say this. I feel sorry for the other people that's getting taken advantage of and in a cult. But as I said again, I think if Vicky got married, Vicky wouldn't have said a word. But that's just me. I'm just listening to what Vicky's saying. But good luck to them, and I'm glad they got the scammers off. Regardless what happened, I'm glad they got the scammers off the street. But they saying the church is still going, so I don't. This is some weird stuff. But good luck to Vicky, and yes, Vicky does have a beautiful voice. But
That voice
Vicky,
is gorgeous. Yeah.
yeah, Vicky got herself into a situation. Maybe her self esteem was low, and he was telling her all the right things. But like I said, Vicky sounded like what you call it, a woman, like she's what they call it, a diary of a mad black woman instead of black white woman. Vicky was out for revenge, but we'll see how it goes with these people. But that's all I got, D.
Yeah. It's all I could say. He's a piece of work, though. Wayne, your thoughts?
She said he called her beautiful. Oh, and she said, Lord, if this for me, if he called me beautiful, well, the devil must have been listening hard. Because she said when he said he called her beautiful, that was the sign. But anyway, I believe every single word of this lady. Every single word of it. Yeah, she got played. She said she did. She saw the red flags. She saw all that. But if you've never been caught up in this kind of BS in the church, you ain't going to understand.
Right.
I've seen people with degrees sit up in this foolishness along with me and believe till they didn't. Till the truth came to them and they knew they wasn't in the right place. So I believe every single word of this. I hope this man gets 60 years plus, along with his assistant. They destroyed lives. They kept people from their families. He's the monster. He's the scum of the earth. That's what scum looks like. That's it.
I agree with you, Wayne. That's what scum looks like. Go ahead, Katrina, before I finish.
I believe. Listen, I get you, Wayne. I'm not saying that I don't believe what she's saying. I'm just saying I believe if he would have married Vicki, Vicki wouldn't have said a word. Vicki seen what was going on. Vicki wanted to be the first lady. I ain't saying that I don't believe what she's saying is true. I believe that part, but I believe if that man would have married Vicki, Vicki wouldn't have said a word. Vicki saying this stuff now because Vicki, the man messing with other women and took your money. So you're gonna be mad. But I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying that Vicki, if he was married Vicki, Vicki would have been on a mugshot, but probably wouldn't have been no mugshot because wasn't nobody out there to tell it. But I'm not saying that it didn't happen, and I'm not saying I don't believe her. But what I'm saying is, if Vicki was the wife, I don't think Vicki would have said nothing. But that's it.
Listen, this thing is deep and heavy. I think even outside of a cult, I think there are relationships where people, you're seeing red flags that are being ignored. So do I believe she ignored red flags? Yeah. Do I believe that a lot of these cult situations, do they end up with a lot of people that are very vulnerable and have different things going on in their life and their self-esteem is low? Look how he got the one young lady that called in for prayer about her cancer. You know, when you don't have your health, when you're sick, you're even more vulnerable. And you thinking you're calling into a reputable church who really, believes in God and a higher power. You're calling there for prayer in your vulnerable moment. He and it's not necessary that they know how to pick them, because sometimes they run into people that know they full of crap and they move past that person and they keep going until they get the people that they need. Marriages broke up. The one woman saying she's sitting up in the pulpit with her son and she done slept with this man. See, it's a lot that has to go on, but I don't even play with these men and they ain't even in the church or the pool. I'm not playing with nobody like that. You know when you being hidden. You know when they don't want you around. You come on, you got to figure some things out. And listen, when she figured it out, she figured it out. Juice knows a lot about this. She said they would DM women on Facebook to get them to join the ministry or sleep with him. A mess. He's a hot, stinking, nasty mess, and I'm gonna roll with you, Wayne, on this. He needs to do the rest of his life behind them bars, along with his co-conspirator. They both need to rot in that jail. But I do understand how the woman gets scammed up. But see, here's again, this is why I keep trying to tell y'all over here, if you got a studio apartment and you driving a Hyundai, be happy with it. Be okay with that. You know, so many people, and I'm not telling people stay stuck in poverty or be okay with poverty. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying, though, be happy with what you have. If you got a bus card and all you could do is get on the bus every day, or you got your 2 legs and you can walk every day. She said he knew I love Jags and he called me down to Atlanta to get a Jag. Listen, there's a lot of cars that I love, and there ain't nobody in this world that could call me to tell me to come get the car, because I know there's going to be an attachment with it. Just like the guy, Derek Dixon, with Tyler Perry. He saw me driving my Jeep and it was pretty beat up. And he called me and told me, go to the Kia dealer and pick out whatever I want. You come on, you grown. You know there's going to be attachments with that. I'm walking. Unless you are my mate and we have been together for a minute and we have established something, I'm not going to accept a car from you. He know I like Jag, so he called you down to Atlanta to get that Jag, and you sold yourself to the devil when you accepted those keys. We got to stop acting like we don't know when people do certain things what it means. You got to be careful now, even when you dating, because some of these fools think because they took you for a piece of chicken, you owe them the world. No, I'm good. So all I can say is let me see right here. Listen, I got my 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom Toyota RAV4 and a decent job. I'm in peace. Hallelujah. Come on, Raheem. Can we talk to the people? Your peace. Your peace of mind is everything. And let me tell you this, when you sell your soul to the devil, it's hard to get it back. They own you. Judge Judy said the other day that when you do not work, you don't have your own job, you are giving away your power. Get out of here. I don't need to drive. Listen, I told you before, I got some cars that I would love, but I don't need to drive anything. I could drive the car moving, and all my cars in my life, I'm telling you, it ended up with 300,000 miles. Listen, the last car I had, my mechanic said, listen, he said, listen, I can't save this car no more. You got to go look for another car. I like things, but I am not that chick that have to have things so people can see that I'm showing off. I can put on the social media me and my Hyundai. I'm good. We got to teach our children and our nieces and our nephews that stop falling for the okie doke on this Instagram where half the people what they showing you they don't even own. Listen, guys, and with Felicia said, let me see, unfortunately, same people let their guard down when it comes to religion into play. Felicia, I agree with you wholeheartedly, 100%. And I can say that because, you know, I like to say born and raised in the church. I still go to church this day, but I also use this little nugget up here. You ain't going to punk me. I can read the Bible for myself. I believe in God. I'm going to give what I can give and what I want to give. And you're not going to shame me into nothing. And if I'm wrong, when I meet my maker, that's when I learn my right and my wrong. And the hard thing about church for me is it pisses me off that the fake and false prophets deter people away from what is good. Because there are a lot of great ministries out there. But you got these fake false prophets like this David Taylor that are a disgrace and it's messed up. And it deters people away from the church. But I always tell my friends, if you can go to that no down dirty job that does you dirty every day, you can go to the church. Just find you a good one because there's good ones out there. This David and Michelle, they need to rot in the jail. Period.
And that's what I don't understand, why so many people give their money, to the church. Jesus never asked for money for prayer. It was all about food and rations, stuff like that.
I don't want to get into that.
That's not what I'm going to say. That's not what I'm going to say.
I don't want to get into that because
no, that's not what I'm going to say. What I'm going to say is
Katrina, just like a business got to run, the church has
I get
to
that,
on the
but
light.
Diva, when you got, I don't want to. You're not letting me finish. When you got these,
I don't want to go there because I do not have anything wrong. There are some very good ministries out there that are doing great.
You're not going to let me finish what I was saying. But what I'm saying is, Diva, the preacher's having $10 million, but you got your congregation that's in the soup line. That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about, the tithing whatsoever, which we get to that part. But when you got these people with $10 million or a private jet, mansions, and all this type of stuff, what is your congregation getting? When your congregation come to you, they can't even get nothing from you. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, but you were talking again about false prophets, right? I don't even want to go down that road. But what I'm talking about is there's some good ones out there that's doing good things for the community, that's helping to save the people, and that are doing the right thing. Those are ones I want to focus on, not these people that are false, lying, cheating, and stealing. Their day will come. But I have been to plenty of churches that are giving out scholarships. They are doing great things for their community. They have soup kitchens. That is real stuff going on there. Those are the ones that I want the people to focus on if that's what you want to do. And if you believe, that's what I want you to do. I don't want to talk about the negative ones because they're everywhere. But I'm saying get yourself grounded in some church that is real, that is doing great things, and there are plenty of them out there. And listen, let me tell you about, they call it the worldly people and then the people in church. I don't care if you read any book on a millionaire, they all say they give back, right? They give back. They're philanthropists. All of that is no different than the 10% that the church is asking for. You will not hear not one millionaire that doesn't tell you that they're giving back to these charities. And if you look into some of these charities, a good portion of the money is used for operating costs and not even going to the cause. So I really don't want to go there with the church because I can break it down because this girl right here, like I said, born and raised in the church. My message about the church is find a good one that's doing the right thing. If your instinct is telling you that something is off, trust and believe. Go with your instinct. It is something probably off. But does that mean that they're all bad? Absolutely not. Listen, guys, I appreciate y'all for being here. Y'all know the routine. If you didn't hit that like button on the way in, hit it on the way out. I'll see y'all on Friday night for trending topics. Much love. Good night and goodbye, everybody. Choo choo.
Choo choo.